So not as good as the ride, huh?
I have a request, Michael.
What's that?
Can we just watch a good movie? Please.
We can't.
It's been so long. It's been so long.
To be fair, you volunteer for the bad ones. I don't ask you to see these.
But as my friend, I expect you to go, Chris, think about your mental health, man. Just watch out for yourself.
See, that conflicts with my overall goals of needing someone to see the shitty movie.
Alright.
Because otherwise it means I gotta watch it by myself, and then I gotta endure the mental headache.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you were just kind of ambivalent to this.
It compared to some of the other shit we've seen, like this is not Space Jam 2.
Oh, this isn't Space Jam 2. This still sucks ass.
I didn't like it. I'm not gonna say it's good. Because especially that third act twist I thought was fucking stupid.
Oh my god.
But yeah, this is one of those ones I just had I was more bored than anything watching this.
I was bored until I got to certain scenes, and then I got oh no. And then I was bored again, and I got to certain scenes, I was like, oh no.
The problem is it just really bloated. It has the same issues the Pirates of the Caribbean sequels had, were just so overly bloated and needlessly complicated for no reason.
First, we need to talk about Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, let's get into that.
The first movie, well, I mean, this is just Indiana Jones combined with the first couple Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
It really is.
I don't think on paper that's necessarily that bad. I love Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I had my little hat and my little whip from my grandparents and me, and I would go around and I would break shit and blame my brothers.
Of course, as you do. Yeah.
And for some reason, there's one story where I broke an antique globe, and then I blamed my 2-year-old younger brother, and my parents just believed me.
Oh.
And to this day, my younger brother thinks that he did it. So I kind of
you gaslighting motherfucker.
Gaslit.
You gaslighting asshole.
And now I feel like I'm too. I feel like I'm too into it, man. Honestly, if I said that, not anybody would care.
But I don't believe you. I think your brother would care quite a bit.
He was fucking 2. He didn't remember being grounded.
Yeah, I'll give you an example of how I know this shit still affects you into adulthood. One time, we had this glass door in my backyard, and when we were little kids, we had this evil little Yorkshire Terrier named Bugsy, bastard little dog. And there's a little baby bird that was in front of the glass window. And we're like, oh, look at the bird, and we're all fawning over this thing. And then, unbeknownst to us, Bugsy the Yorkie goes outside and just right in front of all of us goes chomp, and then we all went blah! And my mother panics and runs outside and whack spits out the bird. And then she told us for years on we put it back in the nest. The bird was fine. It fucking died. We believed her for years. Here's the kicker.
Okay.
Fast forward 10 years later. My mother's talking with her friend. We're doing we're teenagers at this point. They're preteens, teenagers, that kind of weird age. And she's telling her about this story, and my twin sister hears her telling this story, and just in the most heartbreaking tone goes, "It died."
Well, nobody died.
Well, no. The point remains.
I mean, the globe had fucking Yugoslavia on it. It's useless now.
Well, I mean, it's extra useless now. Now that you broke it and framed your brother.
Anyway, I love Indiana Jones. I don't get the Star Wars obsession when Indiana Jones exists. That's.
I mean, they're very different genres.
That's my take on it.
Yeah.
The first Pirates of the Caribbean movie. Fun fact: did you know that was written as a Monkey Island movie?
I 100% believe that.
It's because it's fucking just Monkey Island.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I liked it.
They couldn't do it. They're oh, how about we just pitch it to Disney as Pirates of the Caribbean? And they're yeah, okay.
And it worked.
It worked.
It worked out well. It was a fun pirate romp. And
I'll go back and rewatch it and you know what? I don't like that they put all this shit in the ride, but...
it was relatively straightforward.
I'll take it, yeah. It was just a nice little swashbuckler. Then the sequels happened.
Yeah.
And they tried so goddamn hard.
And I will still defend Davy Jones as an interesting character is the only interesting thing about those sequels. But everything about it is overly bloated.
You didn't like Harvey or Bardem?
Harvey.
No.
I forgot about he was in one of these goddamn things. So the answer is no. I do not.
So you look at the first one, like with the characters, the director did what directors are supposed to do, and they let the actors work, and like, okay, this works, this doesn't. Like, Jack Sparrow was written as, just a pirate, and Johnny Depp's like, I'm going to be fucking Keith Richards.
Yep.
And it worked, and that is infinitely better than writing Jack Sparrow as Keith Richards.
Yeah, I forgot Keith Richards even showed up in the fucking movies. There's so much for the sequels I've repressed. I'm just fairly convinced.
So yeah, first one's fun. Other ones are not so much fun.
No,
but
the third one's bad.
Take what you will.
And then for some reason there's two more of those.
Oh god,
things.
that's the one where like people like Jack Sparrow. They'll like a dozen Jack Sparrows at once.
Yeah, and he's all talking to each other and shit. And like that was a movie that had to pad out to like almost 3 goddamn hours. I had no idea how to do it.
So. What are the other attraction movies? I know there's...
Haunted House at the Eddie
Murphy's Haunted Mansion.
House. Yeah, the Haunted Mansion.
Haunted Mansion is my second favorite ride after the Indiana Jones ride.
Right, fair.
Obviously.
It's one of my favorites too.
So...
Terrible movie.
It's actually funny, and I swear I'm not Disney adult, but I keep saying that, and then this shit keeps happening.
Chris, you were like one of the most... I love you, but you're the most cynical people I know. I have a hard time picturing you as a Disney adult.
Well, I think the fact, after I have this review and after we did Cruella, I think the fact that I'm pretty critical about it, I think makes me better than most. Again, that's up to you to decide. Please leave in the comments how much of a fake I am. But
I feel like you're projecting that image on yourself more than anyone else is.
Oh, well, thank you. That's nice. But so Pirates was kind of a gamble.
It was.
For the Disney image, and then Haunted Mansion, like, well, we'll just make this safe.
Yeah, and then it was not safe, apparently.
It sucked ass.
Yep. And then, what even the
Country Bears.
I forgot about the Country Bears. Oh my god.
I remember Christopher Walken.
It's not over. Bears!
Christopher Walken. Yeah. And, I think that's it until Jungle Cruise, unless there's one random ass one.
I feel like there's more, but I can't remember them off the top of my head.
I don't care enough to look, and if I don't remember them off the top of my head,
then it's not coming on the list.
It wasn't worth it.
So Jungle Cruise is their attempt to kind of revitalize that particular idea.
Yeah, and then they're gonna do Thunder Mountain.
Fucking course they are.
I mean, at least Thunder Mountain has a backstory. I mean, you couldn't fucking tell by riding the ride.
No.
There's a backstory. You're on a ghost train in a ghost town.
I actually didn't know that.
And then when you go into the town, that's why like you hear all the people inside, but you don't see anything because they're all ghosts.
Oh, Okay.
So I mean, like at least
neat.
There's a story.
That's something.
Doubt it's
I
gonna
guess.
Be a good one.
I mean, so does a Haunted Mansion, but Louis also that turned out.
Oh yeah.
But Jungle Cruise comes out. It has The Rock, and I know her name, but I'm blanking on it. Emily Blunt, who are both shockingly charismatic actors.
Paul Giamatti, although.
Oh god. Like, I love me some Paul Giamatti.
He was wasted.
He is, not only is he wasted, I don't know what the choices he's made lately.
Well, that's what I mean. He was wasted. I mean, literally in the movie, he was drunk. That's the only reason they got him.
Paul, and like between this, like Amazing Spider-Man 2, and like what was the like Gunpowder Milkshake was another one he was in recently.
I liked Love and Mercy.
I didn't see Love and Mercy.
Straight Outta Compton. I thought he was great in both of those.
Like, he's a phenomenal good actor, he loves to choose some scenery. And when you let him do that to the full effect, you can have a good time with it. The other times you get Amazing Spider-Man 2.
I think.
Even though I don't hate it.
I think he was trying to be like, you know what, just fuck it. It's a Disney theme park movie. Shout out to Scorsese. But
does that put his A work in here?
I feel like he was told to tone it down.
I can see that, honestly.
Because you can tell that he's kind of trying.
Like a little bit,
with
maybe.
The small character he has. He's like, I know this movie's gonna suck, but people are always gonna be like, well, at least Paul Giamatti was good, and I can't say that for this movie. Yeah.
Like, now to be fair to this movie, like, I feel like Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt do have good enough chemistry to at least make it. I'm not saying it's good. It's well written. Before you get to like.
You know who Emily Blunt doesn't have chemistry with?
Who's that?
Disney execs.
Oh yeah, I've seen the interviews. Yeah.
Yeah. You probably heard by now, but she's joining Scarlett Johansson
Good.
on the lawsuit, and I seriously hope something good comes out of that.
I hope so too, honestly, because like I've looked over, it's like, no, she's completely right on this.
Yeah, Disney,
like say what you will about big billion-dollar celebrities and like all that stuff, but if you violate a contract, you should get sued.
Yeah.
Like that's how this is
and
supposed to
like
work.
I know this is millionaires versus billionaires.
But like the long-term ramifications.
Anybody can even take a small chunk of the billionaires, and because they are justified in doing so, Disney fucked them over with these contract negotiations and backing out on them. Like they're all 100% in the right.
Absolutely, and like this thing, it's because they can take on the mouse. Is the fact that if that court ruling does rule in their favor, that will have a like reverberating effect on the movie industry, and I think a better way than what we've seen lately.
Like you're already hearing. Was it Paramount or WB? But for one of the streaming services, they said we're going to count streaming hits as part of the box office.
Probably Warner Brothers because they can't afford another hit.
It's probably Warner Brothers. I think Warner Brothers has more shit coming on HBO Max anyway. But
they do, but it's more like oh shit, we can't lose any more money.
Yeah.
The Snyder bill is over. We're still paying that off.
But I mean, yeah, it's a $1 billion corporation, but when they make the right choice for the people who work for them and they're not screwing over workers, that's the important thing I care about.
Yeah, absolutely. And the mouse deserves to get knocked down a peg for employee treatment.
Absolutely.
So I'm all for it personally. As much as I love Disney products, like Disney as a corporation is still a monstrosity.
Oh God. Yeah.
And that is an undeniable fact.
But
but Jungle Cruise.
And what's her brother's name?
Oh, the fucking brother. Let's talk about that character.
What's the actor's name? John something?
Something like that. I just know
he's the British guy who did that one series. And I know that narrows it down a lot, but like Traveling with My Father, Ganj. I want to say Josh Hawley. No, that's the fucking.
Give me a second. I'll IMDb it.
That's a politician.
But he's like, there's this one thing the trailer leaves out, and I immediately understood why. Well, one of two reasons why.
I don't think I saw any trailers, so go ahead.
Edgar Ramirez.
Oh, he's the.
Oh wait, no, he's the villain.
Yeah. Jack Whitehall. There we go.
Yeah, Jack Whitehall plays this brother character named McGregor, who's not in any of the trailers. The trailer really amps up Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt and completely leaves him out of it. So like when he shows up in the movie, he's like, wait, who the fuck is this? And I'm like, is he gonna be? No, he's in the entire fucking movie, and he has a lot of screen time.
Well, again, I didn't see any of the trailers because I'm like, okay, this is gonna suck.
It's more like since I'm going back to theaters now, I've seen a lot of trailers now, and that just comes up a lot. So it's really jarring to see him, and he's like, oh fuck, he's in this entire fucking thing, and you're like, oh fuck, he's really annoying. Oh god, he doesn't shut up through the entire movie.
He plays what? Disney's 21st openly gay character?
And that was another thing. I was like, wait, is another reason he's not in the trailer is because he actually basically says he's gay?
They do the whole like, my father tried to marry me off to all these,
like say you're gay without saying you're gay.
Lovely countesses, and they were all nice people, but I just preferred other people's company.
Yep, and I was like, okay, just say you're gay, dude. It's okay to say that.
That's fine. You know what? Would have been an okay scene. If what happened next didn't come 10 minutes later.
Which part was that?
Where I guess we're getting into spoilers now. Where
I was like,
where I'll just say where the rocket stabbed.
Oh, okay.
And he's like, oh, you have to pull it really hard. Maybe I can get behind you and reach around and pull it really hard. It's like,
oh god, I forgot that. I forgot the phrasing there.
You make this big deal out of this scene where it's like, this is the most heartfelt scene where a character just comes out and says it, and then 10 minutes later
you're doing a dick pulling scene.
Yeah, they're just the butt of a bunch of gay jokes.
Yep, and I was talking with Grant
about... Which necessarily, I don't have a problem with jokes like that if they're funny. Not only were these not funny, they made such a big deal of this being the gay Disney character.
Like, I was talking with Grant about it, and he had a theory. I have no idea if this is true, so take it with a grain of salt. But he said, he think he heard somewhere that they reshot a lot of scenes because the original interpretation was a lot more stereotypical. And honestly...
More stereotypical than that?
Than that, yeah.
Holy shit.
So again, I have no idea if this is true. So take it with a grain of salt. That being said, it would not surprise me even a little bit if that was true.
Yeah, I mean, it's a corporate Disney product, so probably.
Yeah, and more like Disney has this weird cycle between Beauty and the Beast, Frozen 2, and now this movie, where they really want to acknowledge a gay character, but they're just too afraid to say the word gay.
Yeah.
And it's again to the point where it's like, dude, just say it. Just say he's gay. Just say like she's gay. Just fucking say it. Deal with the white people later. You have more money than God.
What's his name? The Gravity Falls guy.
Which Gravity Falls? The creator?
The creator. Yeah, God, I can't remember his name.
Hold on.
And I know people who worked on that show and only spoke very high things of him, so I should know this.
It is...
Gigi? No, that's regular show.
Alex Hirsch.
Alex Hirsch, yeah, where they made like the at the start of Gay Pride Month.
Oh yeah, I heard.
Tweet, and he tweeted like, "Yeah, we're gonna celebrate all our gay characters that we cut out of international releases because we're too afraid of pissing off China and Russia." It's like, oh shit, the ball's on you. I can see why you were fired.
Yeah, was Alex Hirsch fired from Gravity Falls?
He wasn't fired for that, but he doesn't work for Disney anymore. And
okay.
He's been
because I know they want to do more seasons
been
of
very,
Gravity Falls, and he said no.
Yeah, he's like, oh, it's done.
Yeah, like
Which, again, I respect that.
I do too. Like 2 seasons, the story's done. Where else you can go from here? Just end it.
Yeah, you could have Dipper and Mabel come back, but
You could, but it's
do
like
you really want them to?
I mean, like they could have done like a spin-off or like a sequel series or something like that. They really wanted to, but
Anyway,
like that story was done for all
so
intents
yeah.
and purposes.
You can always tell when people are out of their contracts with Disney.
Because they're a lot more honest.
John Boyega, Scarlett Johansson.
Suddenly they're a lot more honest about things that happen at Disney. But back to Jungle Cruise, because this is really just a hodgepodge of a movie. What that does, like, if this was just a straightforward, like a buddy movie, treasure hunt movie, it probably would have been perfectly fine.
It would have been serviceable.
It at least would have been like, okay, keep it simple, don't bog it down. They're looking for a treasure, they find the treasure, something happens with the treasure, they don't get the treasure. Like, that's a very simple formula you have to follow for any one of these.
This is like the one thing I would have taken. Yeah. The treasure is friendship, or the treasure is love. That's like, this is the one thing I would have taken, because I would have seen him go like, this sucks, let's go find another treasure.
But
like,
no,
I totally could have seen The Rock and Emily Blunt decide that, and like, that's how the movie ends, and they just go off and...
Like, they go down Jungle Cruise.
They just fuck around in Brazil. Oh, and there's a reason this movie takes place in Brazil.
But instead, no, you have this whole backstory with these conquistadors who are like trying to find this treasure, and then they get cursed by the land, by the natives, and turn into weird, like, plant animal people. And while that's happening, there's a World War I German prince who's also looking for the three. He rides around a submarine.
Also, World War I.
Yeah.
You can tell that's totally the time period the writers wanted.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They didn't think of any other world war at all.
It's like, we don't want the Nazis here, guys. It's like, but can we just have... It makes more sense if they're Nazis. No, it must be World War I and princely for some reason. I don't know. I don't fucking know. There's a lot of weird decisions.
It's like a worse version of Crystal Skull.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people who actually doesn't hate the Crystal Skull.
And kind of like how I'm one of the people that doesn't hate Amazing Spider-Man 2.
That's insane. The Crystal Skull...
I don't want to say it's good, but I don't hate it.
The Crystal Skull is the worst Indiana Jones movie.
It is.
It's still like, if the other ones are like Raiders and Last Crusade are 5 out of 5, Temple of Doom is 4 out of 5, this is like a 3 out of 5. It's respectable.
Yeah.
It's fine. It feels weird without Nazis.
Yeah. And Communist doesn't quite fit the mold.
This specifically is aping on Indiana Jones.
Very specifically, yeah. At least trying to get the vibe of it.
Just have Nazis. Is it controversial to have just say Nazis are bad guys?
Well, hold on. We don't want to offend the Nazis.
Oh, fuck the Nazis.
I was thinking back to the Wolfenstein developers when we were talking. It's like, are you afraid of like offending people in the far right category? It's like, but they're Nazis.
Yeah.
And it's like, but
exactly.
it's like, yeah, but they're Nazis.
Hey, you know what? It's heritage, not hate to punch a Nazi in the face.
We should probably actually talk about the movie because I don't know how much battery life we have left on this thing. Yeah.
So the Conquistadors.
Yeah. So it's more like it keeps adding these elements, and then the German guy like teams up with the Conquistadors. Hey, buddy.
So the conquistadors are cursed because there's a tree of life deep in the Amazon rainforest. And anybody who finds the tree of life can basically just cure all disease. The conquistador, the head conquistador, Aguirre, which is obviously a reference to Aguirre, the Wrath of God.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally the plot of that movie. So they're actually aping off of new German cinema also.
Huh.
With Werner Herzog.
Go figure.
But his daughter's sick, and that's why he's so obsessed with finding this tree of life.
Yeah.
Although, I hate to break it to you, buddy, this is the 1400s. You've been in Brazil for 10 years. Your daughter's fucking dead.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
By the time you get back, she'll be dead.
Granted,
but
priorities
anyway,
kind of shift when...
So, they all get fucking killed because nature.
Yep.
And then the natives find them and they cure them. He's like, hey, give this shit to me. And they're like,
No.
fuck off. And he's like, well, fuck you.
And then he goes and does a lot of murder.
The chief... I haven't seen this movie in 2 weeks. So, like, what's he do? Does he pray to their pagan god?
I don't know. He just does these...
Does he pray to the Christian god? He prays to somebody.
Prays to Jesus.
He prays to somebody who...
And Jesus says, yeah, I'll do the land curse.
He prays to somebody, or he makes a curse or whatever. Conquistadors get cursed where they can't leave, like
they can't get too far away from the river.
It's like, I think they said like a mile away from the river.
Or something like that.
Maybe I'm making that up.
Like, it might as well be. It doesn't matter.
So
it's pretty arbitrary.
Yeah, if they get too far, then the jungle will literally just grow vines and just heat them back to the river.
Yep. And if they can't do that, then you just get stuck into a wall and they turn into nature monsters.
Yeah.
That are totally not like the Harvey R. Bardem pirates in any way, shape, or form.
So they sucked.
Yeah.
They're just the Harvey R. Bardem pirates. There's one guy who was cool. Wherever they get stuck, like one guy got stuck and was covered by snakes, so he became snakes. That was Aguirre. One guy
turned to like bee man.
Got covered in bees, and they're like, "We're cursed." And he's like, "Actually, I'm delicious."
It's like,
okay, that actually kind of made me chuckle.
Like, hey, you know what?
I would do the exact same thing. I would say the exact same thing. It's like, I made a honey, dude. Like, this rules.
Like, all things considered, I got the good end of the deal here.
One guy turns into stone. One guy's a tree. But there was a fifth guy.
Just made out of mud. Yeah.
Oh wait, yeah, that guy. And then there was a sixth guy.
Oh God.
The sixth guy was The Rock.
The Rock.
What?
Like, when that twist happened, it's like, are you fucking kidding me?
So The Rock helped protect the village, the natives, when the conquistadors attacked them. Because he's like, hey, these guys are kind of cool. If we're just chill with them, they'll probably say yes. And they're like, no, we're fucking Spaniards with natives in the 1400s. We have to kill them.
Yeah. But, like, so Dwayne Johnson basically tricks his other cohorts into a giant pit where they turn into the monsters they become, and then he decides he's just gonna make the town he ends up living in and somehow still owes money to people.
That made no sense.
That made
zero
sense. Like, wait, you built the town from the ground up, you invited people to it. They all knew you, and somehow you're poor and owe Topology and money.
That's why he owns the Jungle Cruise, because he can't leave too far away from the water. And as long as he's searching, he can find the Tree of Life, and then he'd be like, I can finally fucking die.
Yep, that's his whole goal for this.
Respectable, I get that.
Yeah, fair.
Emily Blunt wants to find it, so she can just cure all disease in the world, and the German prince wants to find it, so he can cure only the Germans and win World War I.
Sure. Totally something that would happen with Germany in World War I. Sure, why not?
You're not off by 20 years or anything.
Were submarines even around during World War I?
Was what?
Were submarines even around during World War I?
Submarines?
Yeah.
Yeah, submarines come in the Civil War.
Okay, I'm way off base then. Like, history, not my strongest subject.
Yeah. There was naval warfare that goes back to the 1800s.
Okay.
Or, I mean, submarine warfare goes back to the 1800s. Anyway.
Yeah. So, basically what it boils down to is a really over-convoluted plot of three different contrasting forces trying to get this fucking thing. But the minute you like, we really got stupid for me where I was like, oh, okay, that's when we're kind of just basically checked out for the rest of it. Was the reveal when Dwayne Johnson gets stabbed and it turns out he's perfectly fine, he doesn't even bleed because he's immortal, and he does all these things like, oh, that's fucking stupid. Okay, fine, I guess we're doing this. Because it kind of immediately takes away any, like, danger and any scene that comes afterwards. Because especially like when they're getting surrounded by German soldiers and gunpoint, I was like, what's the danger? He can just walk up and go bam, and like they can shoot all the time. Not gonna make a fucking difference.
This guy can just fucking solo everybody.
Yeah, like I get he doesn't want Emily Blunt to get shot, but at the same time, it's like literally he's a human shield. He's literally a human shield. And he's bigger. He's like twice her size, so he can literally just like stand in front of her, not even arms outstretched, just stand in front of her, and she's gonna be perfectly fine. Like not gonna touch her.
Oh, I just remembered. She had this whole thing where she can't fucking swim.
Oh yeah, that becomes a whole thing.
I'm sorry.
Why were you going to the Amazon River?
Why can you not swim?
Because of the patriarchy.
You are European, British elite.
But
there's zero. You talk about country clubs. There's no way you would not learn to swim.
But Chris, the patriarchy. The patriarchy stops all the things.
Swimming was something women could do.
I don't know. According to this movie, they couldn't even wear pants because that was the thing they brought up 5,000 fucking times. Because I guess they really thought it was a clever joke.
Oh, because women equestrian sports doesn't predate the Olympics or anything.
It's kind of like what the one thing I hate about one of the many things I hate about the sequel to Alice in Wonderland was just how over the top the patriarchy was. And I'm not saying it wasn't a problem; it still isn't a problem. But it was also ultra snobby.
I mean, like she wouldn't have had all the opportunities men. Okay, fine, I'll give you that. But being a big socialite, you would still have way more opportunities than other women.
And it feels like Emily Blunt's character really wants to ape Rachel Weisz from The Mummy.
This is a combination of 4 movies. You're right.
Yeah. But the problem I was kind of having with that, because like the difference is Emily Blunt is like really clumsy, but somehow everything still kind of works out. When Rachel Weisz would just constantly fuck shit up, and people would come in like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And that was kind of part of her charm. But this is one of those movies where like none of the characters can really actively fail in anything they attempt. Even the brother, who just again also turns into a master combat unit by the end of this thing, despite being that person have 5,000 pieces of luggage.
I mean, he would have learned to box.
I guess, sure, why?
But beating World War I era German soldiers. Actually, Germany was kind of getting fucked by that point in the war, so they were on the reserves, so maybe.
That does add a little credence to the plot here. I think what it really boils down to is just nothing here is interesting enough to stand on its own to make you engage in any of this overconvoluted nonsense.
Do you remember a few months ago when this guy wrote this giant op-ed to Disney on this conservative blog where he's like, why Disney World is going whoa?
Oh, fuck, I didn't read about what you're talking about.
In the Jungle Cruise, they're reworking Trader Sam. People like me, meaning
white people,
conservative middle-aged white people,
yep,
didn't see anything wrong with this 1950s era depiction of an African native with the big fucking smile.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course you did.
So the Jungle Cruise, the ride, takes place in Africa. I know a bit about the ride, or quite a fair bit. I have known people who have been skippers on the Jungle Cruise, and I've gone to Disneyland when they're working, and I'm like, and they can't acknowledge me or else they'll get fired.
Of course.
But so I know like a bunch of ins and outs about the ride, that behind the scenes stuff. So the ride takes place in Africa. Why does this movie not take place in Africa? Because the ride's racist as shit.
Okay, yeah.
They've gotten better-ish.
I know they have made or are making changes.
A lot of it's still from the 1950s exotica fascination with indigenous people, like the noble savages, that type of stuff. So they said, we can't put this movie in Africa. So let's put it in a country where it's still kind of okay to make fun of the native population.
Brazil.
What the fuck? That's your answer?
Apparently.
And at first, they reveal, like, the natives work for The Rock when he does the Jungle Cruise to con people out of money. Like, they'll fake kidnapping them, and then he'll talk them out, and then they'll steal stuff, and they'll give the stuff, and they'll share it with each other, or they're just white people painted, and that's totally fake, and they make this joke where The Rock's like, man, I'm giving up this con, you guys suck at this. So, okay, and then they actually spend the night with the natives, and it's Straight out of the 60s.
Uncomfortable.
Straight out of the 60s.
Like with the brother teaching one of them how here, this is a driver.
Oh, and then when the pirates attack and he hits the golf ball and he's just like driver.
It's
Lord. Okay.
We're gonna have to
that's weird.
We're gonna pause there for a second. Let's run that battery. I gotta track down the charging cable for this.
Right.
We'll be right back. And we're back. So
back to racism.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of where the movie, I just went like, okay, fuck this.
That is 100% understandable.
I get it's kind of a cliche to be like, okay, well, this is problematic. I hate that word. But at the same time, it kind of unironically is. So, what do you want me to do?
Yeah, right. How dare you have a problem with the depiction of black natives in movies?
Depictions of Native Americans or First Nations.
Historically bad reputation.
Historically bad. We've gotten better with black and Latino representation. Seem to have gotten the best jump in the last couple decades. Asian representation's getting up there. I'm just going to include India and West Asia in that. I know America doesn't, but most of the world counts them all as one. Native American representation historically has gotten a shaft, and
as the whitest among us,
it's clearly not getting better.
No, as the whitest among us, I'm not going to comment on who should be included in what nationality.
Okay.
So yeah, like I think by that point I was checking out pretty hard. So I was like, I'm just really bored and I just really wanted to be done with the movie. So like I was like, oh god damn it, we're doing this. All right, Jesus.
I mean, I guess it still was better than what the ride originally was.
At least,
so I have to give him that.
At least they weren't eating fucking watermelons or some shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is definitely outdated, and this movie has a lot of outdated stereotypes.
Like even in 5 years, we're gonna look back on this and be like, ugh. Ooh.
Yeah, I don't see this aging well with time. Any of these fucking cash grab movies. Oh, this is probably gonna get a sequel. Just fucking watch.
I think it's already greenlit.
Is it already?
Choose.
Fuck. God damn it.
Jungle Cruise. Too fast, too racist.
I don't think that'll pass with Disney.
I mean, this did.
I mean, maybe if they do just have like boats going into space, and
they're finally gonna go to Africa, and then be like, "Whoa, we went through this giant force field, and now we're in Wakanda." And then Deadpool shows up.
Sure.
Because that's how fucking Disney adults think.
I mean, it would be a better movie. Let's be honest. Yeah.
I know, hold on. Speaking of Black Panther, everybody talked about how Black Panther looked like an original Xbox or PS2 game. Like, that's a fucking insult and not a compliment.
Wait, back up.
Is it too much for the Jungle Cruise to look like it takes place in the jungle and not a video game?
Right.
It looked atrocious.
Oh yeah, you mean all the CGI?
It looked awful.
Yeah, for Black Panther, I thought you were like, wait, was there an Xbox game with Black Panther in it that I forgot about?
Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
Touché.
But yeah, like I can't see how anybody can say Black Panther and then looked bad and said this looks better. Like people who
criticize the CGI for Black Panther we're just looking for reason to be mad because the movie's starring black people.
I don't necessarily disagree. It was iffy at parts, but
I mean it's not great CGI, but you know the people that are frontlining the critique for that. They're trying to hate on Marvel, trying to hate on the fact that it's our black people.
I agree, but this looks infinitely worse.
Oh god, man, CGI is fucking awful for things that don't really need to be CGI. Which feels like it's the case for a lot. Like if it's like composition work, fine, I can get behind that. But like, there's a lot of like, if you're gonna have that many animals in there, at least make it look a little better. Put a little more effort into it. You have Disney money. You have all the money. Why can't this look better than PS2 era games? Especially if you're gonna have like
to their credit,
Jaguar that is in a good chunk of the film.
This looks like an early PS3 game.
Okay.
But by that point in time, later end PS2 games still kind of looked better.
And you can tell the only reason like most of the shots of the pirate, like the conquistadors, are in there or like in like pitch black nighttime. Is there's no way they can make the CGI for it look good.
They couldn't make them look good in daytime. That's why the only daytime shots of them are when they're actual humans.
Yeah, and other times like it like that was a funny part when they actually get to the Tree of Life and like they have the sun like this moon out all of a sudden, even though it was daylight.
Oh, yeah.
Like 2 seconds beforehand. It's like, well, because now we need the conquistadors to show up, and they're gonna look like shit. So we need to disguise how shitty they look.
That's how I knew they were gonna show up. Like I told my girlfriend as it came, I was like, it turned dark because the conquistadors were gonna show up.
Yep, and that's exactly what fucking happened.
And then I also told my girlfriend this. Once I saw the main villain was, well, not the main villain, I guess the conquistadors are, but the German guy.
Yeah.
The German prince, I'm like, he's gonna die in a comedic way and go, oh, scheisse, right
Yep.
before it happens.
Yep.
I said this at the beginning of the movie, and
Yep.
that's what fucking happens.
And like, I swear to God, like,
That was the one funny thing Jack Whitehall did, where he punches him and he hits the wall, and like that bump on the wall was enough to make the rocks fall. He goes, "Oh, scheiße," and he's like, "I didn't mean to kill him." Like that was okay. That was kind of funny.
Oh God, and like, I will give that actor credit in that
He was dealt a shitty hand.
it's more like whenever I see him in a movie, my first like, of course it's that fucking guy. But he always does the best he can. Like, if you ever watched The Game, he is unironically hilarious in that one because he just plays the creepy weirdo with like I think it's a weird cat or weird dog that he's always petting like a supervillain. Have you ever seen The Game?
No, I have not.
Or no, it's not The Game. Game Night.
No, I haven't. I haven't seen that either.
It's basically a game where like it's a movie about people like get around and get game night. They have this weird neighbor they never invite because he's super weird. But he always like, are you guys playing game night? Like this really weird monotone way. It's like, I always wanted to play a chance of strength and skill. We're like slinking in the background. It turns out like plot twist. At the end is he really has just been like he's been doing every horrible thing they think he's been doing and joke around about it like he's probably like listening to us right now and like tracking him. He's like, don't say that. He's just a weird guy. It turns out he actually is.
It's always the ones you most expect.
Yep. So
always.
like I'll give that actor credit. He will commit.
So he's done good work.
He has like he's a weird little dude.
Emily Blunt's done good work. The Rock has done good work.
And it just does not culminate in a good movie.
Yeah.
Even though it should. And a lot of it just because it doesn't know what to fucking
Who's
what
this
to do with
director?
this.
Has this director done good work?
Concerns me to look. But I shall find out. Jungle Cruise was directed by a name I'm not even going to try to pronounce.
Oh, Orphan. So the answer is no.
What? Not even The Unknown or... Oh God, he's directing Black Adam.
Oh, no.
That's concerning.
Oh, no. And The Rock was supposed to be in Black Adam.
He still is.
He is?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, The Rock, I don't think he's particularly... He doesn't have a huge range as an actor, but honestly, I think having a range is a little overstated.
He's done some genuinely good.
Yeah, when you find... Even if you have a limit... You have limits to your roles, you can still kill those roles. And when you need the big, charismatic guy, The Rock usually does pretty well.
Yeah.
He's not a master or anything. He's not one of the greats that we'll be talking about, but he shows up and he does his job, and a lot of the times he does it really well. So seeing him do Black Adam, I think is going to be interesting because
I'm very curious to see about it. Let's see how he.
When was the last time he was a villain? Scorpion King. We saw how well that turned out.
That is
Oh, speaking of PS2 era graphics.
I guess like the first Fast and the Furious movies is the closest one I can think of. I didn't know he was in Gem and the Holograms.
The Rock was?
Apparently.
Okay, well I never saw it.
That's what his IMDb page says. I didn't see it either. Yeah, I think the last one was probably like the first Fast and Furious he appeared in.
But anyway, so all these people are wasted. I still think Paul Giamatti got the biggest shaft, because I swear that director told him to tone it down.
I would not be surprised.
Which was a huge mistake.
Well, I'm suddenly a lot more concerned about Black Adam than I was a minute ago. Because I was like, oh, does that look good? Because you had like James Bond being Dr. Fate and like Hawkman's black. That's cool.
What do they have for Hawkman? I saw Idris Elba's going to be Knuckles, which is fucking hilarious.
I heard about that.
That's going to be fucking hilarious. I don't care what anybody says. People are like, oh, but Knuckles isn't black. No, she's not black. He's a fucking red cartoon animal.
Aldous Hodge.
Okay.
Yeah, Aldous Hodge is going to be Hawkman.
Sick. I like Hawkman. I think he's super underrated.
And I know Dwayne Johnson is pretty heavily involved in the production of this thing, so maybe that'll save it from.
I know, Ryan
Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds was a huge Deadpool fan, so he had lots of input on it.
Yeah.
Apparently, The Rock grew up reading Captain Marvel before it was Shazam.
Yeah.
So apparently he has a huge connection to that. So maybe that'll be the same.
That's kind of what I'm hoping for, because I know he called Aldous Hodge to tell him he was cast as Hawkman.
Okay.
So
Cool.
he's clearly heavily involved in that. So this is me just trying to stave off my fears for this movie for a little while longer, because I really want Black Adam to be good.
I'm still excited.
Because Shazam is still arguably one of the best DC ones out so far, even considering the Suicide Squad, which I really enjoyed.
I still have not seen that.
Really? I'm surprised.
Yeah. I'm scared.
It's really good.
I'm scared.
It's really good. Trust me. Even if you don't like it, it's leagues better than the first one.
That's not a high bar.
It is not. It's not. But there's no David Ayer pretentiousness.
I got into a car accident, in November of last year, and that was still better than the Suicide. Not the Suicide Squad. Still better than Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
So.
It doesn't. The sequel doesn't. It is James Gunn going back to form while learning his lessons from the Guardian movies.
Okay. Well. I mean, at least it makes sense. The Volume 2 in the Guardians of the Galaxy, which is the team that we know today,
Yeah.
wasn't super successful, but it was critically acclaimed. It was like the comic reader's comic. You know?
Yeah.
So those types of characters were perfect for James Gunn, and
Yeah.
I do know how it starts.
Yeah.
I do know how the Suicide Squad starts. I saw they brought my man Polka Dot Man in there.
Yep, he actually plays a pretty significant role.
So this is clearly James Gunn going what fucking random ass D-list characters can I get? And I respect that.
Oh yeah, I think he said Polka Dot Man is the dumbest character in all of DC villain lineup. So I had to have him in
what
my
about
movie.
Kite Man?
My third was because the Condiment King. That's what I was gonna say. The only one I can think of is that's actively dumber than Polka Dot Man.
Anyway, this isn't about the Suicide Squad. This is about the Jungle Cruise.
And I'd rather be watching the Suicide Squad.
It sounds like I rather would too.
Yeah. So I got nothing else. Anything else?
Well, I guess I'll see you again when they make the fucking Small World movie.
Oh, please tell me it's not a thing.
It's not now. Now being the operative word.
That concerns me.
We're gonna see if. You know what they should make a movie on? They should make a movie on that Roger Rabbit ride. I think that would make a great movie.
Oh yeah, I mean I'm sure. Get all those cartoon characters in there, have it interact with some kind of big name actor. I don't know. What's a big name actor we can get for this?
Is Bob Hoskins still around?
He hasn't done anything in a while. I'd be good to see him back.
Yeah.
And maybe get Doc Brown in there too.
Oh yeah, my favorite character from Piranha 3D.
Yeah. So get him in there too. He can play the villain. It'd be great.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I mean, I'm sure there'll also be some DeviantArt stuff in there too, just to keep the teenage boys entertained.
I think Kathleen Turner would voice a great femme fatale.
I agree. I'd be very curious to see. So I don't know. I guess one of these days we'll get a Roger Rabbit movie.
So yeah, when they make a Roger Rabbit movie, I'll come back.
All right. Bye.
See ya.
We're dicks.